Hello everyone. Oh my goodness. Hello everyone. I do have a update on Rob Reiner, but I also have an update. Well, not an update, but as y'all may know, Kenneth Owens and Erica Kirk and I will come right back on at 5 o'clock to go through what Candace has to say about that. There's a guy here by the name of Pascal who has some information here about Rob Reiner. I won't go ahead and let that play and come back in a minute.
Good question right there, though. Let me get this.
Um,
Remy's stuff. We ain't gonna see none of it. I'm just saying, yes, cameras,
okay,
the
here we are.
shower. They are celebrities. They are very successful and very wealthy people. And this is a very expensive area, a suburb of LA. So yeah, there's gonna be cameras. There's gotta be. If they're not, I'll be
I hope so.
shocked. I'll be shocked, y'all. So again, who's telling the truth? Is it Daily Mail or is it TMZ?
Oh
I'm
Lord.
confused now.
TMC and Daily Mail.
TMZ says rigor mortis had already set in when the daughter
Wait a minute,
found
wait a
the
minute, wait a
bodies.
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You going off of TMC and the Daily Mail. You sitting there going off of gossip rags? Brother, have a seat. Have several seats.
Daily Mail says the wife, the mom, Michelle, was still alive when she was put inside the ambulance. And inside that ambulance, she named her assailant before she died. Which one is true? I leave that up to you. Here's the other thing, too. Remember, I don't think LAPD takes kindly to the likes of TMZ anymore. And I'm not trying to knock TMZ. I'm not trying to knock TMZ. But I'm trying to point something out. They're kind of doing them dirty. They're kind of doing TMZ dirty with the David stuff. Who's to say that they're not getting solid information from their sources right now? It's just a thought. Could be something, may not be something as well. But we'll see. Let us continue. That's true. Gene Hackman did not have cameras in his home either, which is weird. It's weird. But you'd think having a son living in that house or in the house, you'd think that there'd at least be a camera on the outside, like in the garden or something like that, in the backyard of the house, And we're
I've been
talking
watching
about
Erica
LA
Kirk.
too. We're not talking about you know, some home out in the desert somewhere, some remote place. We're talking about LA. LA crazy. There's a lot of people out here trying to get their thuggish ruggish bone on. And they'll just go up to any place in Brentwood, Santa Monica, anywhere to get some things. So it would be just, yes, extremely dangerous for them not to have cameras anywhere on the premises of that home.
Really fitting in. I guess it was kind of a dressy party, and he was there in a hoodie and not really talking to anyone, and something just seemed off. And again, this was the night before the murders happened. So also, I mentioned some of the celebrities who came over here right after it happened. Billy Crystal, apparently also according to TMZ, and his wife Janice came over right after they got word, and they saw the slain bodies of Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. TMZ is reporting that they arrived at the scene of the flash because there were family members who called them about the horrific discovery. I guess it was the Reiner's daughter who again came over, made the discovery, called the police, but then also called Billy Crystal. So it was quite a scene out here. when all of these people were showing up, including the woman who I'm going to interview here in a second. In terms of Nick Reiner's troubled past, um, his dad had apparently desperately tried to help him over the years. He'd been in and out of rehab. He had been homeless at one point. There was actually a film that they did together about him suffering from addiction and his mental health issues. He'd suffered from these issues since he was a teen, and and the son co-wrote the film. It's called Being Charlie, about their mutual struggles, and Rob Reiner actually directed that film. So that's something that had been the family had been dealing with for quite some time. And again, I mean, it was bad. There was drug problems that he had, and he was in his first rehab facility around his 15th birthday. I learned today. Went to rehab over again. Ended up homeless at one point, living in other states, homeless, Maine, New Jersey, Texas, homeless as a teenager. So he really.
I mean, it's bad. You know, and it's so sad for someone to have such a devastating disease like an addiction like that, where it's that severe. You know, it's really got a hold on them, and it's something that they have to live with for the rest of their lives. They just have to battle it every day. It's very scary. But if I'm correct, this is a neighbor who is speaking out. This is just crazy. Shout out to Brian Enton, y'all.
Rabbi Maureen O'Connell, you are a retired FBI agent, but you were actually out there last night.
Yes, I went there yesterday.
What happened?
I got a phone call from a friend, a Jewish friend, who had heard from a very good friend of the family that this tragic event had taken place. And my concern was that Jewish people were being, targeted, because don't forget we had that huge, terrifying event on Bondi Beach. So I thought, could this be related? Could this be could this...
Sorry about that.
Could this be happening all over the country, so to speak?
She's got a good point there. You had the tragedy. Didn't the tragedy happen the same day? The Bondi Beach
Think it happened hours apart.
situation, was that the same day? I think that was the same day. Yeah, it was the same day. So the same day that he lost his life, the families, this couple lost their life, is the same day that the Bondi tragedy happened as well. Day one of Hanukkah, by the way, guys. That was the first day of Hanukkah when all that tragedy went down. So that's very interesting. So this former FBI agent ain't wrong for assuming or asking those questions. That makes sense. There's a connection there. It's so funny. It's so strange because it feels like the same day. Just I don't know. The Saturday and Sunday feel like one big day for me. It was just so busy. So that's very, very, very interesting. He just said, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are still asking that question if maybe dealers were involved, right? I don't know about all that, but this is bad.
So I just went over there, and I talked to some of the neighbors that were outside, and one man approached my vehicle, and he said to be very careful because the person they were looking for was on foot, the assailant was on foot, and that I should just be very careful, which I wasn't worried, but okay. And then I asked him what he had heard that happened, and he said both Rob Reiner and his wife had both passed away. And initial reportings were that one had passed away, but not the other. And so he said, no, now it's both. And, unfortunately, that turned out to be true.
Interesting that they said one is gone, one is still alive in the initial reporting that she received. Then later she said, or the person said, no, that is now not true. Both have lost their lives. So is Daily Mail correct in saying that she was still alive when they carted her out of the house? That's possible. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, interesting, guys, right?
Many people in the neighborhood say that the son Nick had been troubled his whole youth, and again, another tragedy. But to stab both your parents is just, and then for the sister to find them is just unbelievable on Hanukkah.
And the sister, she lived right there?
She lives right across the street, is my understanding from what the neighbors say. The neighbors say that they're just a very vibrant family. They have a lot of, they entertain a lot. They're just great. They're just, by all accounts.
I mean, you can tell from the decorations at the house, it kind of has that vibe. Like it has a happy
It absolutely
feel
does.
to it.
Yeah.
Did you get any more information about what happened? Like, I mean, we know that they were stabbed, but is there any more detail?
No, just from all the neighborhood. What good does that? It's not true reporting, but people are saying that the attack was on their necks, or they were slashed
Yeah.
their throats.
Well, that's what we've been reporting too. That's, yeah.
And that's the only place, or was there more? You see what I'm saying? Were they punctured a bunch of times and then they have a throats situation, or not? Right? I mean, I think we all want to know more of the breakdown, because when you see, that's the thing. My problem is when they say stabbed, when they say that word, I don't think this. See what I'm saying? I think of puncture wounds. Punctured, right? So was it that and that? I'm curious about that too. But we do have the press conference coming up very shortly, okay? Just so you know, it's in about 45 minutes, guys. Not really in 30 minutes, but it's going to be in about, well, now 40 minutes or so. So, a little over 40 minutes from now. So, just get ready, because we'll be here to watch it all. All right? It's going to be happening very soon. All right? But let us continue. And also, guys, don't forget to hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Crush it. Hit that reaction button. I'd love to get it to past 1K. If you can help me get it to 1K, that'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that subscribe button as well. That'd be awesome. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, y'all. And here's the other thing too. There is going to be allegedly there's supposed to be a show tonight or this afternoon with Candace Owens and the meeting that she had with Erica Kirk. We will be doing some semblance of a watch party on that at some point tonight as well. So just be on the lookout. That's on my radar. I'm keeping an eye on that as well. Okay. Just so you know. Somebody said, why was Billy Crystal there? I think Billy Crystal lives in the neighborhood too. I think they all live nearby each other. So I think that's one of the reasons why he was able to go down there. And you never know. I mean, it sounds like he was a very, very close friend of the family. Probably a godfather to one of his kids, you know what I'm saying? And probably was the first person that the daughter thought of. His best friend. So it's tragic to be someone to have to identify. It's a terrifying thing. Terrifying thing for sure. I still would love to hear what Conan O'Brien has to say, about everything as well. Like when he's going to speak out and talk about this whole thing too, because, what could he have seen at that party? How volatile was the argument that they were having, But anyway, let's continue.
How soon after was it when you got there?
Pretty soon. Pretty close. It was, first of all, I could hear from my home, I could hear and see all the helicopters. I mean, like 4 or 5 helicopters circling. And so I knew right what part of the neighborhood they were in. And so I just rolled over there and vectored my way in from the helicopters.
Do you know why, when I was watching the press conference last night, they kept saying we're waiting on a warrant?
Yeah, you have to have a warrant.
Even when there's been like a murder?
Well, they're not the only two people that live there. There's another, the son was a resident of that location. And it's just what we do in California. It's a best practice, I would say, anywhere. And the reason you do that is because evidence can always be challenged. And in a big case, it's going to be challenged all day long. So they wanted to get a warrant so that they could, enter the evidence in a most secure fashion. That's just a best practice. There really isn't that much of a hurry because the bodies aren't going to go anywhere. And as long as you secure the interior of the residence with the people that are already inside, and if they're compliant, they can just sit there and they're watched by an agent or an officer, and in this case, an officer, and then even if they have to use the restroom, someone goes with them. I mean, unless
I'm back,
yeah,
y'all.
someone would go with
I'm
them.
back.
You don't want any destruction of evidence. You want to preserve everything as it was when you got there. And then when you get the warrant, then you start your search. But the initial entry into the residence is to determine if they're alive or dead, if they need medical attention, if they should go to the hospital, and also to determine if the assailant is in the house hiding in an attic, in a closet. You can do all that stuff. All that stuff would fall under the exigency. So you can look for all of that. But once that's done, the house is, you know that the assailant isn't in there. You sit everyone down, and you just wait. You wait for the warrant to be written and signed off by a judge, and they work all weekend, 24 hours. You can go to their houses, if need be. And then they came back with a warrant and executed that warrant all night. They were likely, I was on the FBI's evidence response team for many, many years. So they were doing large samplings of whatever blood was there, because oftentimes in a knife fight, the assailant gets cut also, and that puts them right there bleeding on scene. So they're not going to just take a swabbing of this and a swabbing of that. They're going to take multiple swabbings everywhere. And if the son was in there, if Nick was in the house, and he had cuts on his hands, that's something they're going to be looking for. Any type of defensive wounds. His dad was a big guy, and if the fight was on, then there's going to be evidence of that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I mean, you have a better visual listening, but like, slitting both of their throats. How would one of them be fighting back? What do you do to the other one and running out? Or, you know what I mean? Like,
Good question.
You're going to go after the stronger one first.
Good question.
From an animalistic standpoint, you always hit the alpha first, which my guess would be the dad, and then maybe the mom came in on them and tried to stop him. Who knows? We don't know exactly what happened. The crime scene will tell us a lot, but we don't have any of that information right now. But you always go after the alpha first. Like if you ever have to fight two people, you're not going to pick the weakling first, because then both your hands are engaged.
I'm gonna switch over to Grizzly True Crime in about the next 5 minutes.
They're coming after you. So my guess is he went after his dad first, and his mother either tried to intervene or was right there, and he went after her next.
when you were out there, were people talking about the daughter, saying that she was there?
There were people saying that the daughter found them and was very upset, but I didn't see that she was probably interviewed. But if she lived across the street, they could just as easily do the interview over there.
Right.
But if she has children or something, you don't want to be doing that in front of children. It's too graphic.
What do you think will happen next? I mean, could he, if he had these mental health issues, could he like plead an insanity defense or something like that?
Yes, he could, and the word is that he had a lot of psychosis in his life. What you see online and what we're hearing reported is that he was in and out of rehab quite a bit, but from the family friends, they were saying that he was like schizophrenic essentially, and had to, when he started feeling good, he'd go off his meds, and that's when, of course, the problems would start. But this has been a years-long, maybe decades-long situation with him, so who knows? But if you have violent tendencies, if it's proven that he's had violent tendencies in his past, and he continues to choose to go off his meds, that could go against him.
Put this
I
in
don't think
Discord.
it's safe for him to
Give me
ever
1 second,
be out in
y'all.
public again. Be frightened
Okay, I'm back.
because anyone that could do that could do anything. They're capable of anything, and that's what the neighbors seem to be afraid of, and I would be too.
I would be too. And again, of
Yeah.
course, after all this, they were able to connect the dots very quickly and then arrest Nick. Right? Let's go over here. This Access Hollywood. I think they talk about addiction and everything with Nick and Rob talking about this.
You don't seem very fiery to me. You
I
seem like
get
you might
crazy. I get crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You don't want to set me off.
Were you?
Just hot and fresh out the kitchen. Right out the gate.
You don't seem very fiery to me. You seem
I
like
get
you might just.
crazy. I get crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You don't want to set me off.
Were you ever worried that that Nick
Wow.
could shine poorly on your career or something?
No, that never crossed my mind. I mean, he's my son. I love him. It doesn't matter. That he's more important than anything that could happen to me.
Charlie, why don't you tell us?
Do that again. I mean, he's my son. I love him. It doesn't matter. That he's more important than anything that could happen to me.
Sad.
Charlie, why don't you tell
Okay,
us?
Grizzly True Crime is live.
6 months of
Go ahead
sobriety.
and let this play.
Safe?
Do I smell like weed? No, I think I smell like weed. Is most of the movie parallel to your life, or almost all of it?
We took from our lives, but it's a fiction. I mean, Nick could tell you because he went through all of this, and I think he took from a lot of different people. Didn't he?
Yeah, my own experiences, also seeing other people going through it, and also the varying establishments that I was in, you really get a sense for that whole world. So it's not like copy and pasted, but it's definitely derivative of reality. Sort of like a 4-year process. Like first we started out with this like slapsticky half-hour comedy pilot that was horrendous, bad jokes and everything. And he looked at it and was like, and then
It's funny, but I felt the subject matter, should allow him to go deeper with it.
yeah, well, that wasn't said at the time. It was sort of just like, hey, this is trash. But anyways, we went along, and 4 years went by, and then I met up with Matt for a bagel in New York City, and we were like, what about that old script that we were, maybe there was some good stuff in there. And we went in, and we looked at one page, and we were like, this is terrible. And then, yeah, I just sort of wrote a new pilot and got around to him saying, would you like to make a movie out of this? And we were like, we don't know how to do that. And then we just tried to do it.
Was it cathartic in a way to revisit the journey?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, we went through a lot. I mean, we didn't do it to be cathartic, but it turned out that that's what happened. I mean, it forced me to understand a lot more of what Nick was going through, and I think it forced him to see what I was going through, and that brought us closer together. And during the process of working on the film, it took about a year just working on the script. The first draft they wrote was like 190 pages. They had thrown everything in that they had gone through.
Manifesto.
Yeah, and as we shaped it and changed it, the whole process brought us closer together because we started understanding each other.
This kind of stuff, it makes me very sad. It makes me very, very sad because you have, at least there was a moment where they were both.
I'm going to stop that there. I'm going to go over to Grizzly True Crime and see what they have for us.
Is that it's their own son, Nick Reiner, 32 years old, who has been arrested on suspicion of murder not formally charged yet, so the time is ticking. They can only hold him for like 48 hours, unless they, of course, charge him, then he's going to be staying. But right now, he is being held without bail. Initially, it was $4 million bail. Everybody was panicking, like, what does that mean? Is he going to get out? All of that. But he's being held on no bail at this time. And he was supposed to be in court today, but was found, the term, I've got it somewhere in the presentation, like medically not fit, medically unfit to actually attend court today. So he's on, got to censor for YouTube,
Medically.
self-deletion watch in the
Okay,
jail as well.
he
right?
on self deletion
Now,
watch.
Man, that is son
I
32
kind
years
of figured
old.
that's what it
He's
was.
expected to be charged with their murders today, especially with the time pressure, you know. But let's see what the update is, seeing as he wasn't able to be in court today. Okay, so today's date is December 16th of 2025. Now, Rob's first marriage was to actress and director Penny Marshall from 1971 to 1981, and he adopted her daughter from a previous relationship, Tracy Reiner, and she's 61 years old now and absolutely devastated. I've just seen some of her statements in the media, right? And she became an actress. Now, in 1988 to 1989, when directing a great movie, right? I love this movie. When Harry Met Sally, Rob met photographer Michelle Singer on the film's New York set, and their relationship profoundly influenced him. He later credited her with inspiring the decision to alter the film's ending to a romantic resolution. They got married May 19th of 1989. This couple has been married for 36 years. Shame. It's like such a love story, you know? I really feel like they gave this life their all, and their children, and they did so well in life, and they were happy, you know. And this is just, it's every parent's worst nightmare I can imagine. I'm not a parent myself, or only have cats, 3 cats, but you know what I mean. It's like, this is the worst nightmare. This is the worst possible outcome. That your own son, allegedly, is innocent until proven guilty. I don't know why I'm glowing like this now. Sorry about that. My lights are doing a thing. In a court of law, but your own son is the one who the LAPD say is responsible for their murder. Okay, so they got married, as I say, May 19th of 1989 in a private ceremony on vacation in Hawaii. They actually said it was very impromptu, and it was witnessed by a passerby woman and her friend. I've also seen other reports that say that, you know, they got married at the home, but it doesn't make sense timeline-wise because they bought the home in 1991. So they've been in the home that they were murdered in for 34 years. Oh my goodness. So the Reiner family, they had 3 children. So Jake, 34, works in broadcasting, the eldest. Middle child, Nick, 32, screenwriter and now a suspect in their murders. And then there's Romy Reiner, 28, an actress, and poor Romy found her parents. She's the one who found their bodies. So you can see photos here of Michelle and Rob, and then Jake, the eldest, Romy, the youngest, and then Nick. I've made his name in red because he's an obvious red flag, you know what I'm saying? My goodness. So Rob bought his home from Norman Lear, an influential American television writer, producer, director in 1991. And this was Rob and Michelle's dream home. You know, when they saw the home, and Rob said that he used to go over there, there's like a tennis court, and he just said, man, one day, like when I'm big, I'm going to buy this house. One day, when I have enough money, I'm going to buy this house. And he said to Michelle, his wife, well, you know, Norman and his family's lived in here, like, what do you think of it? And she's like, this is my dream house too. And I mean, they were in it now for 34 years. Gerda said, gee, thank you for all you do. You're just such an inspiration. Thank you, Gerda. That is so sweet. Thanks for being a member for 29 months. Now, also, I do want to say that I am aware that Rob Reiner was also a political activist. I'm avoiding that because I don't want the chat to get too political, but I'm aware that he was also a political activist. I've kind of just focused on his acting, producing, directing career, okay? So, especially for our international audience as well, right? Okay, so this home was a 10,000 square foot, 2-story New England style home with 6 bedrooms, 6 baths, 2 staff quarters, a swimming pool, a pool pavilion, gardens, a tennis court on a lot across the street. Nick, the son, the middle child, the son, the suspect in their murders, was actually living in a guest house on the property at the time of their murders. Now, he'd apparently lived there on and off. And see, he struggled with substance abuse. He struggled with addiction for years, like since he was a teenager, and he'd been in and out of rehab. He'd been to rehab like 18 times, and in between, he was either homeless or sometimes he would live, in the guest house on the property. So at this time, he was living in the guest house. Their daughter, Romy, lives in a separate property owned by the family across the street. So she was really close by. So when she couldn't get hold of her parents, she just like walked over and wanted to go and see, well, what's happening? Why aren't they answering their phones? Why can't I get hold of them? And she discovered their bodies. That is so hectic. The Gavlin, the Hook said, thanks for your hard work.
I'm still here, y'all. Hold on.
Here a lot longer. Thank you so much. So, man, I just feel terrible for Romy as well. You know, that's so much trauma to find your parents like that. So Rob Reiner was born on March 6th of 1947 and is best known as an American film director, actor, and screenwriter. As I say, political activist, I'm aware. But he was born in the Bronx, New York, to comedian and filmmaker Carl Reiner. I think Carl was 90 years old. He lived to 90? Anyway, the point is his dad was a big deal too. So I find it, I'm just going to insert this here a little interesting that Nick, the middle child, right, of Rob, he had an issue being in the shadow of his grandfather and his father, but his dad was saying, but man, I know what it's like to be in your dad's shadow, you know what I mean? Because my dad was a legend. So yeah, he was a comedian, filmmaker, Carl Reiner, and singer Estelle Reiner, and he gained national prominence for his role as Michael, is that what you want? Rob Reiner gained prominence for his role as Michael Meathead. Do I pronounce it Stuyvesant? I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. But on All in the Family, a CBS sitcom which ran from 1971 to 1979. He also featured in movies Sleepless in Seattle, The First Wives Club, Primary Colors, MTV, and The Wolf of Wall Street. Miss Macduff's
Man,
love
he did
affairs
Wolf
for
of
this
Wall
family.
Street?
How devastating. So devastating.
Okay, I
Thank
didn't
you for
know
your
he did
sticker.
all that.
Yes, and everyone loved them, and there are so many, So, okay, so he was featured in these movies, and then he also turned to directing movies, which included directing The Princess Bride in 1987, When Harry Met Sally in 1989, Misery in 1990, and A Few Good Men in 1992. He co-founded Castle Rock Entertainment. Dee, thank you so much. So, yeah, if you don't know who he was, now you do, right? Now, Nick Reiner, the middle child, 32, has a publicly documented history of substance abuse that began in his mid-teens and involved significant challenges, including multiple rehabilitation attempts and periods of homelessness. He went to rehab for the first time when he was approximately 15 years old, and he's been in rehab more than 18 times. He said, he's quoted here, and I'm going to put all my sources in the description box for you, if you want to find these articles yourself as well. He says this, I had no identity and I had no passions, Nick said. And I think the reason I had no identity was because I have a famous dad and a famous grandpa, and that fame sort of informs who you are. So I wanted to edge out my own identity with a more rebellious, angry, drug-addicted sort of persona. He also only band, I used to love being able to catch alive, and Ruger for being a member for 18 months. So then they say what Reiner and his wife Michelle did was ship Nick off to rehab. It was the first of what would become 18 stays in recovery facilities, eventually resulting in Nick becoming homeless when he refused to re-enter recovery at 19. That is so badly worded, honestly. That article is like, wow, it's not their fault. They were trying their very best. They didn't like ship him off like you handled it. They did the best they could. They didn't know what to do. There's plenty of interviews where you could see Rob, even with Nick, doing lots of interviews, and we're going to get...
I have paused it for a second. It seems to me that this guy here, unfortunately, he he's stayed a victim of his addiction, and unfortunately, a person in addiction is either going to be they either going to be where this Nick guy is in prison due to his addiction. It's three things that's going to happen. You're going to be a prisoner of your addiction, or you're going to die by your addiction, or you're going to get out of it. It's only three ways. out of addiction. And unfortunately, he's unfortunately in his prison. Let's get back into it.
We're going to get to why, because they also made a movie together about addiction and just talking about overcoming these struggles and these challenges and just that whole roller coaster of it all and trying their very best to help their son, right? Berliner Flanzer said mental health issues and addiction are so incredibly hard to manage. This poor family, this is a true tragedy, right? Thank you for being a member for 50 months. So, again, trigger warning discussions about substance abuse, addiction, relapse, and the impact on family members is being discussed in this live stream. So, in 2015, during a period of sobriety, Nick co-wrote the screenplay for the film Being Charlie with Matt Elisapon, hope I said that okay, a friend that he met in rehab, and he actually, this movie was directed by his father, Rob Reiner. So now his father and son are working on something, and they both said it was so cathartic, it brought them closer together. They argued sometimes on set, and people reported about that, but they just said, but you know, it was so good for them to work all of this out, to see each other's side and everything. So it sounded like a great experience, right, at the time. That was 2015. Janine said, this podcast was a steady presence this year. Merry Christmas, and thank you for the work that you do. Thank you, Janine. This YouTube channel, I really appreciate your sticker so much. So he said, so firstly, the movie, Being Charlie, is a movie about a drug-addicted young man whose father is a cold former movie star running for governor of California. And it's based on Nick's life, right? He wrote the screenplay for it. He said it was the first time that I tasted life. Not everybody gets to make a movie, but in this case, I found my salvation. So it really meant the world to Nick and to his dad. Things were looking up. Things were looking great in 2015, right? Thank you, Lawrence. You said, thanks, G. You are the best. Thank you so much. So during the film's press tour, Nick, who often sat quietly as his father spoke, said many aspects of the movie were inspired by their relationship, including a line that the father character tells his son, I'd rather you hate me and you be alive. Oh, I don't know. That one just breaks my heart, you know, because now the son is accused of murdering his parents. And the speculation is because his parents would have said, you need to go back to rehab. And then again, the speculation is he was like, there's no way I'm doing that, and lashed out. He had lashed out in the past, but not in this way. So we're going to get to that. So in a 2018 interview on Dopey, a podcast about addiction and recovery, Nick described the time when his parents told him that he had to get out and go to rehab, and he reacted by wrecking his parents' guest house. And I've actually found that clip, so let's just play that quickly over here. We can play this one here.
20 years.
Oh, Nick, it just hurts. It's just painful. It's painful stuff.
Right.
Finish it in the next 2 weeks. I want a book report, 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I also want you to take a shot at recovery again sometime. Then you can call in and say how good your life is.
Okay.
Will you call in again soon?
Yes.
But no heart attack stories.
All right.
What was the heart attack feel like?
Pretty bad.
Getting there?
That's it. What about when you wrecked the guest house on meth? You don't want to tell that story?
Yeah, I went 10 rounds with my guest house.
Tell us, he got sequestered in his parents' guest house. What was the story there? That's a good Dopey story. Sequestered. Tell that story.
It's not much of a story. I got totally spun out on uppers. I think it was coke and something else, and I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house.
Like a frame? Like what? Like a stuff?
No, I think I started with the TV, and then I went over to the lamp, and then everything in the guest house got wrecked.
Did you punch the TV?
Yeah, I literally punched the TV.
Did you like lacerate your hands? I mean, that sounds bad.
Did you hurt yourself?
I don't even remember at this point.
You were too fucked up. You was about to have a heart attack. So he destroyed the guest.
Okay, so that's where the quotes are coming from, that he had previously destroyed his parents' guest house, the one that he lived in from time to time on the property, and at the time he was living in the guest house, you know, at the time of the murder. But when the police got there, he was nowhere to be seen at the house, right? So, let me just quickly move this. Okay, so He said, I got totally spun out on uppers. I think it was coke and something else, and I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house, including a TV, he said. In the weeks leading up to the murders of Rob and Michelle Reiner, they had expressed growing concern about his deteriorating mental health to their friends. Okay? So they were getting worried, and probably worried that he had relapsed, right? So Saturday, December 13th of 2025, Rob Reiner, 78, and his son Nick Reiner, 32, had a loud dispute, an argument, a fight, is described in different ways, at a Christmas or holiday party hosted by Conan O'Brien in Los Angeles, which is an annual event at Conan's house, right? And so it was supposed to be really fun, everyone getting together, but witnesses described this dispute as heated and said that, it made everyone uncomfortable and quite scared, especially of Nick. They said Nick was freaking out, acting crazy. He kept asking people if they were famous, a source told People magazine. The Reiner family left the party shortly after the argument occurred. So that is the day before the murders occurred. They're still figuring out exactly what time. Well, they can't say exactly, but within a time frame. The Reiners were, the parents, right, the Rob and Michelle were murdered. And maybe at the press conference today they will update us on that sort of timeline. I don't know. Eileen said, thank you guys for covering the story. I loved Rob Reiner. This is so tragic. Yeah, I'm so sorry, and thank you so much for being here and for being a member. So, yeah, that was scary, right? And they were scared. People were scared for them. They were saying, oh my goodness, like really, his mental health is deteriorating, and getting worried. And so on Sunday, December 14th of 2025, Rob and Michelle actually planned to meet Barack and Michelle Obama that night. The couple's daughter, Romy Reiner, became concerned after being unable to reach her parents, and she decided to visit the residence. There she found her parents stabbed to death. Romy then called 911 at 3:40 p.m. There were no signs of forced entry, and Nick was not home. So initially they say it was reported as like a medical emergency, and there's some reports that say that the mom died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, but I'm not too sure about, there's a lot of details, a lot of rumor coming out right now, a lot of people saying things, so I'm not 100% sure on that. But either way, both stabbed, both allegedly with their throats slit. That is just so scary. They actually said it looks like, inside it looked like a Hollywood horror house. I've seen articles saying that as well, right? Now, Los Angeles Fire Department paramedics and LAPD officers responded to the call. Upon arrival, they confirmed the deaths they said, that's how they say that. Upon arrival, they confirmed the deaths and classified the incident as a double homicide due to multiple stab wounds. The LAPD Robbery Homicide Division assumed control of the investigation, and Romy then told the police, look into my brother Nick because he's dangerous. Shame. And she was like spot on, right? She's like, you need to find him because he wasn't on the property, he wasn't in the guest house, and they needed to wait to get a search warrant to actually even go in. What's going on? Like, why are you keeping things so vague? Why are you saying, oh, the suspect or whoever you think is on foot? I mean, they were so vague. At the first press conference, it almost made no sense. Like, what do you mean? Oh, you were waiting for that search warrant because by law, something about if someone lives on the property, you can't just, enter. You can't just go in. Normally, you would need a search warrant either way. But here, because Nick lived on the property, they needed to make sure they get all their ducks in a row, especially for proper prosecution. So they were very protective of the case, which is totally understandable. Sunday evening, Nick Reiner, age 32, was arrested on suspicion of murder and booked into custody. He was initially held on a $4 million bail. Everyone was freaking out about that. Now it's no bail. So they said officers with the Los Angeles Police Department's Gang and Narcotics Division, along with the U.S. Marshals Task Force that typically searches for fugitives, tracked Nick down in South LA on Sunday evening, according to a law enforcement source and Reiner's booking record. He was found near USC, around 15 miles from the scene of the stabbing, and they don't know exactly how he got there, right? So they're not 100% sure if he took a bus or walked or what he did to get there and why he was there. Anyway, but they found him there. Nick Reiner was taken into custody around 9:15 p.m. Sunday and booked on suspicion of murder at 5:04 a.m. on Monday, the source said. He has retained high-profile attorney Alan Jackson, might sound very familiar to all of you, to many of you, right? That guy, Alan Jackson, represented Harvey Weinstein, Karen Reed, and Kevin Spacey. Damn, he's got a really high-profile defense attorney there. He looks very different, hey, compared to some of the other interviews and things if you've seen that. So you can actually see, no, here, yeah. Here he is with his sister, Romy. Shame. And then top right, that's a more recent picture of him, is how it's being reported. You know, so yeah, he definitely looks very different, much more scary, right? And so here's a picture of the family: Rob, Michelle, Romy, Nick, and I think that would be Jake's wife, possibly, or girlfriend, and then Jake, right? TC Mama said Nick hasn't been cleared medically yet. That is how I was trying to phrase it earlier. Yes, he hasn't been cleared medically yet. Bridget said, Rob will always be meathead to me. Rest in peace to an amazing actor and director. Thank you, Bridget, for your sticker, your support, and your lovely message. So let me just quickly see the time. Okay, they're going to start the press conference in 7 minutes. I still have a few little things to show you. So here they had this December 15th, right? Today's the 16th, yeah. So they made this little news release, but they also had a tiny little press conference where they gave just a little bit more info. So I'm going to just quickly show you that, just so that you have it also on the record as we watch this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. It's Captain Mike Lang, Media Relations Division. As I discussed,
Okay, I think we're at a press conference.
an update on the tragedy at the Reiner family home. Just understand this is based on some updates of the tireless work of our investigators from last night, including that. We're still at the very early stage of this investigation, and again, Chief's prepared to answer any questions that you can.
Thank you, Captain Bland. As he said,
Press conference, ladies and gentlemen.
the stage is still limited, but I'll share what we can. First of all, our hearts go out to the family and friends of the Reiners' tragic incident. Yesterday at December 14th, about 3:40 in the afternoon, LAPD responded to a residence, the residence of Rob and Michelle Reiner, located in West Los Angeles Division. At that location, they found two deceased adults. Through the night, working with the coroner's office, they were able to identify them definitively as Rob and Michelle Reiner. We have our Robbery Homicide Division handling the investigation. They worked throughout the night on this case and were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case. He was subsequently booked for murder and is being held on $4 million bail. Pretty much that's what I can share at this point, but again, a very, very tragic incident.
Can you talk about, I know, yesterday we talked about the search warrant, how important that was, died. Talk about where that played a role in
Yeah, you know, we use search warrants to be able to further our investigation, as you know, on all of these cases. I wouldn't be in a position to talk specifically about what the object of the search warrant was, but it's a critical piece of our investigations to be able to ensure down the road a prosecution.
That was it.
Thank you all very much.
That was it. That's what they said. Okay, so we're waiting for the new press conference, which is going to start in a few minutes now. I'm just monitoring it. Okay, so here my earphones glove for some reason. Okay, so December 15th of 2025, they say detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department's Robbery Homicide Division announced the arrest of Nick Reiner. Everyone was like so upset, so shocked, following the murder of Robert and Michelle Reiner. And here they just relay everything that they just told us there, but they share the tip line. So if you saw something, know something, and you haven't yet said something, please do call those tip lines, because it could really help the case, right? To strengthen the case, to help prosecute, to get justice for Rob and Michelle. So on Monday, December 15th, he was being formally held without bail. Tuesday, December 16th, the case is scheduled for review by the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office for potential charging decisions, and there's a press conference coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Nick Reiner was transferred Monday to the Twin Towers Correctional Facility, according to the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. He was originally booked into the Metropolitan Detention Center before being transferred to the Inmate Reception Center in Los Angeles, California. Online records now show the Twin Towers Correctional Facility as his permanent housing location. Permanent? Not permanent yet. It's not. It's okay. He's innocent or proven guilty. this country goes live said, didn't he check into a hotel at 4 a.m. on Sunday? I have read that as well. I'm trying to just keep it to what the police have said because at this point there's so much out there. But they said, I did read somewhere that he checked into a hotel and they found blood in the hotel. So I read that as well. But if I'm not sure about something, I'd rather just less is more so that I could try to like wade through everything, right? And bring as many facts as I possibly can. But I do think so. Thank you for your 44 months of membership. Okay, so Michelle and Rob Reiner, sorry I spelled it wrong, they were married for 36 years at the time of their devastating deaths. Condolences to all who knew and loved them. And it's a lot of people, you know, a lot of people knew and loved them so much and are so devastated by their loss. There's also this one clip here that I want to show you.
We just got some of the images of the arrest of Nick Reiner, that's the U.S. Marshals. Supposedly this is the arrest, the location.
Let's pause that. That's the image we have of the arrest. So I just actually want to just boost this a little bit. That was a little bit soft. Okay.
Looks like the station over at Vermont, the metro station at Vermont, and it looks like they're taking him down. Those pictures were actually posted, and the LAPD thanking the U.S. Marshal for their help with the arrest, which I'm told went without incident. He was booked
Hey,
suspicious
18.
of the death of his parents, and initially bail was $4 million. Now it's no bail. People in shock. Very well described by the senior editor over of Culture and Variety. Listen.
Okay, so I'm gonna pause it there. I'm gonna link this clip for you. And also, wait 1 second. You can see the dad, I'm just watching for this press conference, okay? I'm gonna show you this clip quickly here.
Stuff to then get told, you're a spoiled, white, rich kid. And it's like, okay, maybe all these things.
Well, who would say that to you? Not you.
You know, listen, I had to talk to him about this. Listen, I know what it's like to be the son of, and to have people assume certain things about you, and it's very, very difficult.
Shame. That's Rob with his son Nick. You know, defending him.
Well, how did you handle that?
Well, I mean,
Obviously you didn't go to drugs, but you
Sorry, every time I want to just adjust it and pause it.
must have had those issues. Your father's an icon.
60s, there was plenty of drugs around.
Yeah.
But you just have to know what you do, and then you have to block out all that extraneous noise. And it's hard for him because this is the first time. He's, all of a sudden, there's a lot of attention. People are talking, and he has the double whammy. He's got me and he got his grandfather, and they're going to say whatever the heck they want, but they don't know. They don't know what he's experienced. They don't know what he's gone through. They don't know why he's done what he does, and and it's pretty dumb, pretty ignorant of people to say just because you're earning your money, that doesn't mean it.
Shame. Oh my goodness. He was always there for his son. This is so devastating. Mary said, what's so sad is when he becomes clean and sober, realizes what he did, he'll never get over it. Addiction of any kind never ends well. So tragic. Thank you for your support. Now let us quickly, the press conference is coming
Facts.
up.
Addiction does not end well.
Tab. I really want to see if I can find another one. Yeah, here we go. So we can see something. Okay. Never mind. I'll put it here.
Okay, I'm here.
Waiting for it. Now we're just waiting for it. Okay. Now to pay a little bit of attention to the chat. So I was trying to make sure that we're not late for the press conference. It was perfect timing now. And they should be starting any minute. Within the next, literally, they're a minute late so far. So let's just wait. That's what you want to see. If I go here. Yeah, Tracy Smith said that's a man who loves his son. If you watch the interviews, if you say Rob Reiner, if you just look on YouTube for Rob Reiner, you will find so many interviews that he's done with his son, especially after the movie being Charlie. Shay, man, and he was just always so supportive and trying to listen, and here and there you can sense there's a little bit of like tension, but that's normal, right? They had a lot of challenges that they were facing and trying to overcome together, and it's just
right.
Wow, to think what happened and to think how they died, the betrayal, the trauma, the horror of it all. So thank you so much, Tracy Smith. I quickly want to see what they're doing here. Okay. This one is at least doing something. Let's watch this one a little bit. I'll switch over to another one if it's better. But right now we
There
wait
should be a press
for a
conference
brand new press
soon, y'all.
conference. Look at that. Okay, so I made a banner for us as well. Patricia Vale said parents tried all they could. Addiction sucks. I mean, it's so sad, right? Yeah, Heidi said Rob is right. This problem is everywhere, not because dad is famous. Yeah.
Right.
Joanne said he was a, or Joan, sorry, said he was a supportive, loving parent. Many people love both of them. Yes. Thank you so much all for being here. Please like and share so others can find that we are live now for this press conference as well. I saw they just announced it less than an hour ago. From what I saw, I was like, oh, there's a press conference, so we'll watch that together. Molly the G said, I went to school with his other kids. Oh my word, you said it's such a tragedy. Robin?
Hopefully, this press conference doesn't go all the way till 5. And unfortunately, I will be coming down um, periodically for the next half hour because some reason I decided to cook while I'm live streaming instead of cooking before I started live streaming. So there goes that. Let's get back into this.
Other kids. Oh my word, you said it's such a tragedy. Robin and Michelle were wonderful people. I'll be trying to catch this one in person if I can. Okay. Thank you, Molly. Keep us posted. So sorry to hear that. Yeah, Sue D said you do everything possible to help your kid and they pick up a knife and stab you to death. Just a terrible way to die. It's so horrifying. So sad all round. If I heard that hot mic correctly, they said it's approximately 5 more minutes, huh? Miss Stewie said, thank you for covering this, Gisela. Another horrible tragedy. Yeah. And thank you all for emailing me. So many of you emailed me to ask if I can cover this. And here we are. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Miss Stewie, yeah, and thank you for being a member for 49 months. You know, even though they say it might be 5 minutes, sometimes they all come walking in and they just start, right? They just start. For now, 5 minutes or less, they say. 5 minutes or less. Okay. Let's see if I have something else to show you then in the meantime. Okay, hold on. I had one more clip, so let's watch that. I'm going to monitor this one on this side, and we shall watch this together quickly here.
Hi, Carol. Good morning to you. We know charges have not yet officially been brought against 32-year-old Nick Reiner. We can tell you 24 hours ago, we were at the home in Brentwood where Rob and Michelle were stabbed to death. They were discovered Sunday afternoon, and we know that this morning, Nick is expected to appear in court here downtown. As early as this morning, we're still waiting for those official charges, which should come as early as this morning. Now, police say their youngest son, Nick Reiner, is now the focus of this murder investigation. It'll soon be in the hands of prosecutors. Authorities confirming the 32-year-old was arrested Sunday night on suspicion of stabbing both his parents to death inside their Brentwood home. The couple, Rob Reiner, 78, and Michelle Singer Reiner, 68, found dead Sunday afternoon by their daughter, Romy, according to reports from TMZ. And Nick wasn't at the house when police arrived. Detectives believe he left sometime after the attacks, and the night before he was seen at a holiday party, Conan O'Brien's Christmas.
Okay, we went over that. We're going over a recap while we're waiting for the press conference, right? Please remember to censor any substance names in the chat, otherwise YouTube can flag that, and flag the whole video then. and then no one will see it, or they might take it down. So just make sure if you say a substance, just put like a star in it, in the name, or censor it somehow if you can. That would be very helpful. Gotta play by YouTube rules, you know. So let's continue watching this a little bit.
Party where an argument reportedly broke out between father and son, and we know that Nick's struggle with addiction and mental health issues has been apparent for years. Meanwhile, TMZ also reporting that after that argument Saturday night, Nick checked into a Santa Monica hotel early Sunday morning before the attacks, and he was taken into custody eventually Sunday night around 9:15. So, Correll, we can tell you that Nick is currently in custody. He's being held at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility, which is just down the street from the courthouse. And as we wait for those official charges from prosecutors, we can tell you that he is on suicide watch. We learned that early this morning, and initially he was being held on $4 million bail. That has now changed to being held with no bail as we wait for that case to be presented to the District Attorney's Office here in LA County. For now, live downtown, I'm Mario Ramirez-Correll. We'll send it back to you.
Okay, so now we're gonna put the press conference back on so we don't miss a thing. This one actually got a much better view. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office. Nice that they have their own feed as well. Thank you to Matt Black for helping me find the best press conference. He's the press conference link hunter. Okay, so I'll do this. Listen here. Don't be buffering now. So that seems to be a much better quality and view from what I can see. So now we wait. They say 5 minutes or less, and we already watched that clip for like 2.5 minutes, right? I'm just curious to see what they're going to say, because as there was a sticker or a message I just put up where someone was saying you look forward to hearing, here we go, Gen B said, we'll be interested to hear the details as soon as possible. Much we have heard so far is speculation. Yeah, that's why I'm just sticking to as little information as possible, meaning just the bullet points. What did the police say? What are the LAPD saying? What is most accurate, because there is a lot out there, right? This case is really shocking. It shocked the community. It shocked everybody, countrywide in the USA and worldwide. It's got international attention. So yeah. Reef Shadow says he was at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party. Yes, he was. The night before. He had a fight. Yeah. Here they come. Are you ready?
Everybody.
Press conference.
What's that? Korea. John.
Great. And then LAPD on that side. So this is going to be an update on the homicide investigation of Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner. You're going to hear from the Chief of Police, Jim McDonald from the Los Angeles Police Department, and the District Attorney, Nathan Hochman. Just want to level expectations. We will allow some time for questions, but because of this is a preliminary investigation still, very active, it's being filed as we speak. There's not a lot we're going to be able to say right now. Also, if you would, please put one question at a time so that we can hear the question and answer appropriately. So if we can have that decorum in here. DA Nathan Hochman.
My name is Nathan Hochman. I'm the District Attorney of Los Angeles County. Today I'm here to announce that our office will be filing charges against Nick Reiner, who is accused of killing his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and photographer-producer Michelle Singer Reiner. These charges will be 2 counts of first-degree murder with a special circumstance of multiple murders. He also faces a special allegation that he personally used a dangerous and deadly weapon, that being a knife. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. No decision at this point has been made with respect to the death penalty. We have requested, and currently Nick Reiner is being held without bail. Now, before in announcing these charges, I also want to announce that they're just that. They are charges. Charges are not evidence. Evidence is something that we will be presenting in a court of law to meet the standard of proof we meet in every criminal case, which is beyond a reasonable doubt, to 12 jurors who you'll unanimously have to find that we've met that standard to prove the charges we bring to court. Right now, with respect to the process, once the charges get filed this afternoon, Nick Reiner will be then brought to court. He is going through medical clearance, something that everybody who gets arrested and gets held in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department jail goes through. Once he is medically cleared, he will be brought to court to be arraigned on these charges. At that point, he will enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. Now, prosecuting these cases involving family members are some of the most challenging and most heart-wrenching cases that this office faces because of the intimate and often brutal nature of the crimes involved. Rob Reiner was a brilliant actor and director, an iconic force in our entertainment industry for decades. His wife, Michelle Singer Reiner, was an equally iconic photographer and producer. Their loss is beyond tragic, and we will commit ourselves to bringing their murderer to justice. I want to thank LAPD Chief McDonald, who is here today, along with Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton from the LAPD, and LAPD Captain Scott Williams, and the entire robbery homicide division, who literally has been working around the clock to gather the evidence that have led to the charges we're going to be filing today. Also from my office, I have Assistant District Attorney Maria Ramirez. I have Director of Specialized Prosecutions, John McKinney. I have our Head Deputy of Major Crimes, Craig Hung. And I have the two prosecutors who will lead prosecution in this case, Assistant Head Deputy of Major Crimes, Habib Balian, and Deputy District Attorney for Major Crimes, Jonathan Chung. They will bring their decades of experience to holding this murderer accountable for his actions. At this point, again, you will hear in the media rumors, you will hear speculation, you will hear hearsay. What I'm asking everyone to do is to rely on trusted sources. If it doesn't come from the District Attorney's Office, from LAPD, from the Coroner's Office, or from the courtroom itself, then there's a good chance you are hearing misinformation. Because at the appropriate time, the actual evidence involved in this case will be presented in a court of law. So I ask for your patience until that is done. But again, please do not rely on rank speculation, rumor, or hearsay to believe that you understand anything about what went on in this case. I'd now like to turn it over to Chief McDonald. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today. And it's with deep sadness that I address the tragic loss of Robert and Michelle Reiner. On December 14, 2025, LAPD officers from our West Los Angeles division responded to a death investigation at the 200 block of South Chadbourne Avenue, which is in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. Upon entering the residence, they discovered the bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Reiner. Detectives from our Robbery Homicide Division Homicide Special Section immediately initiated a comprehensive investigation. The evidence gathered led to the arrest of their son, Nick Reiner, who was taken into custody later that night without incident in the Exposition Park section of our city. Today, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has formally filed charges against Mr. Reiner for the murder of his parents. This case is heartbreaking and deeply personal, not only for the Reiner family and their loved ones, but for our entire city. We extend our deepest condolences to all of those who were affected by this tragedy. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank our criminal justice partners, the District Attorney's Office led by D.A. Hochman, and everyone who worked tirelessly on this investigation. Their swift action, professionalism, and commitment to justice have been instrumental in bringing clarity and accountability to this case. The LAPD remains steadfast in our mission to protect life and uphold justice. Ensure that every step forward is taken with care, dignity, and resolve. Thank you.
What are some questions? Yes, right here in the front. about why you feel this week, why special circumstances?
So special circumstances is a situation where one of the enumerated factors that lead to elevating in some ways a first-degree murder case to a special circumstance, a first-degree murder case occurs. One of those special circumstances is called multiple murders. Here we have two, and it qualifies under the definition of multiple murders to allege the special circumstance in this particular case. So over here.
That Reiner found, and was there any evidence on it indicating a crime that didn't say anything?
Yeah, he was found with good, solid police work, investigative tools used by robbery, homicide, and gang and narcotic division detectives with the U.S. Marshal Service Task Force involved as well. So we're thankful for the work that was done. I won't go into talking about what was found or anything that could potentially taint the investigation. Yeah.
Given Nick's history of drug use, was there any indication that he was under the influence at the time of this crime?
No, thank you again. That's another question.
I hope you can hear the question. They're asking if Nick was under the influence at the time of his arrest.
I can't touch.
Wait a minute, you can answer that question. Whether if he was high or sober matters, man. The hell's you talking about?
The evidence, any evidence, if there is any, of mental illness for his background will be coming out in the hearings that will occur. We anticipate, again, after the arraignment, the process will go through the normal process a case like this goes through. At the appropriate time, if there is evidence of mental illness, it will be presented in court and in whatever detail the defense seeks to do that. Yes, right here.
For the
We
love
don't
of God.
anticipate any significant delay more than is involved in a first-degree murder case with special circumstances. These are some of the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring against anyone.
You call
We
me?
anticipate that the discovery that we will produce to
Okay,
the
I'll
defense
check.
will be robust. It will be very involved. They'll want adequate time to review it. They'll want to go through every single factor that they can ascertain in the defense of Mr. Nick Reiner. So again, this will proceed along the tracks that many of the first-degree murder cases proceed. Do I anticipate it being particularly fast? No. I anticipate it being very thorough. Yes, right here. We are not at this time. Yes. Yes, right here.
The members of the Reiner family helped with your investigation so far, and did they provide any information or assistance which led to the arrest?
Let me defer to the chief on this.
I am Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton, Chief of Detectives. We don't have any specific information we're going to release at this time regarding the family's information they provided. And as we move forward, that information will be discussed in the appropriate venue, which will be the court.
Yes, in the front here.
Sorry, Chief. Talk anything more about just not the condition that Nick was arrested. The residents around was concerned or like anything else.
So specifically, he was arrested in a public area, in the Exposition Park area near the University of Southern California campus. He was approached by the officers and he was arrested without incident. There were no indications that he was going to resist or anything like that. He didn't flee or anything like that. He was taken into custody without issue, and he was transported to our police headquarters facility.
Take a question back there, yes. He's been alleged, one of these special allegations is that the murder was committed with a deadly weapon or a knife. As to where and how the weapon was located or will be located, that will actually be evidence we'll present in court. Let me take a question over here. I'll defer to the chief for this one.
I'm sorry, we don't have that kind of specificity yet. We're waiting the coroner to be able to try and determine as best they can at this point time of death.
We'll take the question back there.
Okay, so in terms of how the Los Angeles Police Department became aware, it was a request from the Los Angeles Fire Department who responded to the scene first. We responded to their request for assistance at the scene of the incident. Our initial West LA officers that responded determined that a crime had occurred, and they immediately notified our Robbery Homicide Division. They responded, and they've taken over the investigation since that point.
Thank you, everybody. One more question. I'll take it right here.
I know you're hesitant to talk about sensitive things, but based on evidence collected before, did that include an admission by the detective?
So any statements made by the defendant at any point in time would be the type of evidence that we will be presenting in court. I'll take one last question right here.
Sorry, I have a question.
Hold on one second. I just identified this gentleman.
Oh, I thought you were going to do.
Sorry.
Do you have an estimated time for
We do not have the estimated time that it will take. We know that they're working on it expeditiously, but as to when they deliver it, we do not have that estimated time. I'll take that one last question back there.
I was just wondering, I know these types of cases are difficult. How will that be taken into account with the family want charges for the dealing with a domestic situation like that? Or does that factor into whether you will go after life of parole or custody?
In these cases, like any of these cases, we will take the thoughts and desires of the family into consideration in making our decision. Thank you all very much.
Damn, look at that. Thank you very much. Boom, video's not available. Okay.
They said
Wow.
that press conference.
And so the press conference ends just like that. So they weren't able to tell us much, except obviously what's important to the case. Okay, so there are formal charges now. 2 counts of first-degree murder with a special circumstance of multiple murders. Sorry, and that a deadly weapon was used, like a knife. I like the way he worded that at the end there when he said deadly weapon or knife was located, and then he looked like to me, corrected himself, will be located. So maybe they did find the murder weapon, which is always good to then strengthen the case. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's the major update. It was a press conference to update the public that there are formal charges now, that Nick Reiner will be still going through medical clearance, and he'll be brought to the court to be arraigned, and then he will enter a plea of either guilty or not guilty. That's what happens next, and they'll keep us posted, right? So we got to be careful, make sure we follow official information, because there will be more and more and more fluff coming out, right? Speculation, hearsay, all of that, which I understand. Everybody's curiosity. I mean, I'm curious too, right? We want to know things, but I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt until the police say anything or the district attorney's office say anything, right? Mary said, Reiner's humanity and compassion for others still would only want the best and help for their son, right? Oh man, you said my heart goes out to their daughter and other children. Yeah, me too. They've got a daughter, Romy, and a son, Jake, as well. Shame. This is absolutely devastating. And what a horrifying way to think of how your parents died. And they were so happy, together for so long, living in that house since 1991, married for 36 years, you know, tried their level best, and that's how their lives ended. It's truly tragic. So I will keep you posted. Feel free to leave some comments below as well. YouTube now has a new feature where I can respond to your comments with a voice note, so I'm enjoying doing that as well to many of your comments. So after the live stream, leave some comments below, and if there's anything that you want to add, any context, information that you can find that is from somewhat an official source that would be helpful, then you can email grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. Sending condolences to all of the family and friends of Rob and Michelle Reiner. And everybody, stay safe, and I'll see you again very soon.
To be honest with y'all, I thought the press conference was going to be a little bit longer than that. I still got a half hour before I go to Candace. Let me see if I can find uh, someone else talking about Rob Reiner. If okay, here we go down the rabbit hole news. See what rabbits got for us. I'm still here, y'all. Uh,
It's
just
not too out of the
just got done with my dinner. It's actually a dirty rice mix. So in case y'all was wondering what I'm eating for dinner, there it is. See what rabbit has for
way,
us.
you figured, until you found a rental car with
I think, right, like anything that you say can and will be used against you. So they're going to be using that. But I don't know. We don't know if he confessed. We don't know. Could be the case. We don't know. Um, okay, let me hit play on this. Hold up.
Was an equally iconic photographer and
Damn, they
producer.
put cayenne in this.
Their their loss is
I'm gonna
beyond tragic,
came back down, y'all.
and we will commit ourselves to bringing their murderer to justice. I want to thank LAPD Chief McDonald, who is here
I'm
today,
trying to make sure this
along
is
with
this
Deputy
is
Chief Alan
something
Hamilton,
y'all already
LAPD, and
heard.
LAPD Captain Scott Williams, and the entire robbery homicide division, who literally has been working around the clock to gather the evidence that has led to the charges we're going to be filing today. Also from my office, I have Assistant District Attorney Maria Ramirez. I have Director of Specialized Prosecutions, John McKinney. I have our Head Deputy of Major Crimes, Craig Hung. And I have the two prosecutors who will be...
Did I hear this correctly too? Two prosecutors? They need two prosecutors?
Why they using two
That's interesting.
prosecutors?
Why do they need two prosecutors?
Yeah, and that's weird. Why they need
in this
two?
case. Assistant Head Deputy of Major Crimes, Habib Balian, and Deputy District Attorney for Major Crimes, Jonathan Chung. They will bring their decades of experience to holding this murderer accountable for his actions. At this point, again, you will hear in the media rumors, you will hear speculation, you will hear hearsay. What I'm asking everyone to do is to rely on trusted sources. If it doesn't come from the District Attorney's Office, from LAPD, from the Coroner's Office.
You said it's pretty normal for two. If I have any lawyers in the chat, would y'all let me know? Because, I mean, I can understand. The RICO case on Diddy, I think that for me that's the one that stays. They had six. Even though Diddy had like 9 lawyers, they had six lawyers overall. Like the majority, a good portion of those DAs were there. So, but this is, they need two prosecutors. Why do they need two? Unless one is training, I don't know. But again, two different kinds of cases. Clearly, this, yeah.
Or from the courtroom itself.
One is federal and one is state, so keep that in mind.
And there's a good chance you are hearing misinformation. Because at the appropriate time, the actual evidence involved in this case will be presented in a court of law. So I ask for your patience until that is done. But again, please do not rely on rank speculation, rumor, or hearsay to believe that you understand anything about what went on in this case. I'd now like to turn over to Chief McDonald.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here today. And it's with deep sadness that I address the tragic loss of Robert Michelle Reiner. On December 14, 2025, LAPD officers from our West Los Angeles division responded to a death investigation at the 200 block of South Chadbourne Avenue, which is in the Brentwood section of Los Angeles. Upon entering the residence, they discovered the bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Reiner. Detectives from our Robbery Homicide Division Homicide Special Section immediately initiated a comprehensive investigation.
I know y'all probably heard this before, but I'm gonna go ahead and let this play probably till like 15 till 5.
The evidence gathered led led to the arrest of their son, Nick Reiner, who was taken into custody later that night without incident in the Exposition Park section of our city. Today, the Los Angeles County District's Attorney's Office has formally filed charges against Mr. Reiner for the murder of his parents. This case is heartbreaking and deeply personal, not only for the Reiner family and their loved ones, but for our entire city. We extend our deepest condolences to all of those who are affected by this tragedy. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank our criminal justice partners, the District Attorney's Office led by D.A. Hockman, and everyone who worked tirelessly on this investigation.
Well, I mean, he didn't. I don't think he showed up because he was still being medically cleared, but his attorney showed up. I think he entered his appearance, which they said is Alan Jackson. So yeah, you know, there's a. I'm looking to see because there's a lot of speculation behind how he is able to pay for this lawyer. I mean, I don't know. People have said, well, maybe it's pro bono, maybe it's not. There's nothing yet to determine what is going on. My understanding is that he's entered his appearance for Nick. So, yeah, which would make things a little bit more formal. I wonder how Conan O'Brien is feeling today. I mean, I think everybody feels horrible, right? I think everybody's feeling a little bit just upset over the circumstances in general because it's like, I think the biggest question that people have is like intervention. What could they have done different or whatnot? And I think Billy Crystal, for example, is somebody who was very close. He was a family friend. He was the second person notified of everything. So that tells me that there was a lot of people that were close to the situation that maybe understood that things were out of hand but didn't know what to do about it. And that's very normal.
Their swift action, professionalism, and commitment to justice have been instrumental in bringing clarity and accountability to this case. The LAPD remains steadfast in our mission to protect life and uphold justice. We will continue to support the Reiner family and ensure that every step forward is taken with care, dignity, and resolve. Thank you.
It's a pretty straight to the point.
We're going to take some questions. Yes, right here in the front. So special circumstances is a situation where one of the enumerated factors that lead to elevating in some ways a first-degree murder case to a special circumstance, first-degree murder case occurs. One of those special circumstances is called multiple murders. Here we have two, and it qualifies under the definition of multiple murders to allege the special circumstance in this particular case. That's not over here.
Yeah, he was found with good, solid police work, investigative tools used by robbery, homicide, and gang and narcotic division detectives with the U.S. Marshal Service Task Force involved as well.
I do wonder about that because I think that he was in the homeless area. That's what people were saying. So they get that. And mind you, it was like 3 to 3:38 p.m. that they discovered.
Okay, we already heard this. I'm actually gonna go ahead and end this live stream here, but I just want to say this before I go. If you if you're a family member or friend of yours, coworker is having issues with addiction or anything of that nature, there is are resources out there to get that person help. Don't be afraid to get help. You know, it's okay to not to be not okay. Um, and considering he was fighting addiction and mental illness, um, j- just the mental illness by itself can cripple a person. But the fact he was fighting mental illness and addiction, he he unfortunately he he, he was in a tough fight. Unfortunately, and it's unfortunate how this ended up. Um, Only thing I can say is, take care of yourselves, take care of one another. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see y'all at 5 o'clock. Peace.